Hello, my dear ones. It's always good to come to you. It feels like I haven't sit here and talked with you in so long because we had the holidays, and then, of course, most of you are aware we had the another YouTube shutdown. But I understand that. You know, we live in a world of influences for sure. You know, and truth is a hard thing to take, and I'm sure many of you already have seen how difficult it is to convey and communicate with even your parents or your loved ones. Even your mate many times can't change when you just, when you find a nirvanic rock, you like to share it. And sometimes it just doesn't swallow well. And that's the whole point about being unconscious. I talk a great deal about the allopathic community because this is a serious problem that man has. And it's not negative to medical doctors as much as those that play the role and continue to play it when they see that things are not working. And everything is as it should be, there's no question, and I see that. But when you want to instigate change, you have to infuse some passion and some consciousness and some understanding into the mix. And there are some that have thought, even I had thought for 20 years, that we need to learn to work together. The problem we have is that we're 180 in our thinking. We're totally different in our thinking. We're actually opposite in our thinking. When they use pharmaceuticals to suppress or treat a symptom, that's something we would never do. We would give you something to increase expectoration, where there's just the difference. And I'll come out on our website and show you the difference between naturopathy thinking and allopathic thinking, to show you the difference. We've already are working on a form where I've showed you the difference in how they see something and then how naturopathy views the same thing. And remember, naturopathy, don't let that fool you. The word, it's the study of nature through science. And science, the two sciences that stick out the loudest, of course, is chemistry and physics. When a health modality, or one that sets himself up as a health modality, ignores chemistry and physics of the very foods, the very drinks, and the very products that one uses on or in them, we've got a serious problem. Because chemistry rules here, obviously. And that's what people need to understand, a little more of that. So I do get a little tearing on that, but you must realize that when you're going along in life and you hear of a loved one dies, or you see a newscaster or a movie star die from cancer or something, you see all the little bald heads and everything like that, you don't think much about it. Oh, it's sad. I get every hour here, we get flooded with pictures and horror stories and things like that when you treat acids with acids. And it is a nightmare from hell. And when they start mutating children, I draw the line here. You see that 17-year-old fighting? I hope she gets a hold of our attorney, because our attorney is a civil rights attorney. That's a big difference. And she's a very aware attorney, very, very spiritual. And that makes a huge difference, because that's honesty coming from the heart, and that's what our attorney is. She came to one of our classes. Some of you have met her. Incredible woman. She's the reason we're back up on YouTube both times. But I was hoping she'd get involved in this case, because they want to give this 17-year-old chemo. And if this lawyer does it right, this should be a case of all cases, because the studies are there. Get some chemist that has their heads out of their butts to show what happens when you add acids on top of acids. And you could demonstrate that to a jury very easy by demonstrating cellular pHs, the acids from the cells, the pH, and you could just get Coke to do that. You could demonstrate in a court of law what happens when you give a hotter acid than the acid that damaged the cells in the first place. When someone gets that's a paradigm change. When man gets that, it's a paradigm change. And I'm hoping medical doctors, many great medical, we have many of them we work with. And a lot of them have, done well. There's a female in California healing people up like crazy, another one in Canada that's healing people up like crazy because they learn what causes things. So when someone says you need to work with them, I'm saying no. They need to work with us. We're not alternative, we're traditional medicine. And I don't even like the word medicine, but we're traditional. We've been here since the dawn of time. Foods, herbs, that's how man has dealt with his problems for generations. So when you have something alternative come along using toxic drugs and stuff, that's not mainstream. So you have to understand, they need to start working with us because we're the ones curing everybody of all their problems. And so that's what you have to look at. And with that said, there's a lot of you that are struggling with some of your problems. There's a lot of you that are in pain. It's hard to get this pain out of you. If you're in extreme pain, stay away from the acid fruits, number one. I've got a inflammation joints formula. Might help you with that. You're looking for alkaline chemistry, base chemistry. You could do baking soda, aluminum free. You can do a teaspoon in a cup of water and just sip that water off and on all day to help bring alkalization. But again, when we're talking interstitially, that's around all your cells, and you have spaces around every cell there is. Of course, that's how you get to the cell with the goodies. Fluids have to get to the cells because it is fluids that take care of the cell, correct? You've got blood that feeds them, and you got the sewer system, you got the lymphatic system. Absolutely. We're not fixated on the lymphatic system. We're highly focused on it because that is the system that everybody's down with. We've used the blood to get to it, but the blood has to maintain a certain degree of integrity. And it's easy once you start eating properly. It's real easy to change the nature of the blood, especially clean the spleen a little bit, clean your liver up. You have great blood. Get your kidneys filtering, of course. But it's the lymph. So lymph deals with acids, correct? So acids dehydrate, burns up your electrolytes, dehydrate you. So you notice when you start on a raw food diet, your urine stays alkaline. That means you're losing your electrolytes. And it's just a process to get the body hydrated. Some people are so dry, so burnt. This one lady she cries acid tears. A lot of you experience that. Some of you ladies are so acidic your rings turn on your skin. That's scary stuff. When you cry acid tears, how acidic is that? Are you going to lose your vision? Are you going to lose your teeth? Are you going to lose... Hell yeah. So this is big deals. The acid side of chemistry takes no mercy, guys. And that's what we must have to understand. Allopathically, naturopathically, chiropractically, homeopathically, right on down the line. We're all fighting the same thing. It doesn't matter if someone has different techniques. If they understand we're all on the same page fighting the same thing. That's not where we are. We have some that fight phantom diseases. And that has to change. If you never invoke truth, and you play with half-truths, and you don't want to upset anybody and hope everybody's good, where are you going to go? Now, I do believe that when you work with people, you come in the back door. You're gentle, you're loving, you come in the back door, but you must always convey truth. And truth might be a hard nut to crack, but you have to understand in this day and time. Remember I told you about 10 years ago, the Hopi elders and the Sioux elders came out at the same time, and I have their stuff. They both basically saying the same thing, that they were trained for generations by their elders, and all the chiefs passed it on, the holy men passed it on. Most chiefs are holy men. And their biggest thing was, it's too late now. We've been trying to tell you that man's consciousness is all things is an energetic experience, and that it's shifted the chemistry and physics so much that according to the Hopi elders, you can't change what's coming. You can only protect yourself. How interesting. So that's what I'm trying to do with you guys, is protect each and every one of you through getting your physical, emotional, and mental bodies healthy, but also to bring you back home to consciousness again. Because that's where home is. Remember, you're just an individualized piece of the whole. Take a mirror, throw it down on the ground and shatter it. Especially those kind of, the glass, the safety glass that has all the little pieces. God is the whole mirror. You are just one of those little pieces of the whole mirror. So, until you realize that, you're always seeing yourself as separate. God, I'm going to pray to God. I'm going to love God. Until you realize and move yourself away from the mind, which is a body that appears separate, you will see yourself as separate from that. When you start developing, and I was telling this young lad that, when you get so much energy, guys, built up, some of you are really getting to those higher levels, start using that inwardly to propel yourself out of the body and to build your consciousness. Don't use it just to play externally all the time, because there's even bigger experiences yet to come. Much, much bigger. So if you use that energy correctly and you start building and building, you will find incredible things. But remember balance. If you have to have a salad for balance, have a salad for balance. If you have to have some cooked vegetables once in a while for balance, have cooked vegetables for balance. Because if you get out of balance, it only sets you back, because you have to bring yourself back into balance. It's tough, to know when you're out and when you're in a balance. There's no question about that. But developing your consciousness, the ability to be who you really are, which you don't have to do anything to do that. That's the secret. You don't have to think anything. You don't have to feel anything. You don't have to travel anywhere, because you already are that. You're that little piece of shattered mirror. It's just that when you're externally focused through the mind, you see yourself separate. We're all separate. Everything is separate here. I got to go learn and get educated. I got to go do this and this and this. And duality rules the day. But that's creation. The illusion thereof. And if you wanted to know the bottom line is developing itself in little bit of individuality pieces to be conscious dreamers. And as you become more conscious, your dreams will become more conscious. And you can run your universe more consciously. Doesn't mean you sit back and do the Buddha thing, because remember Buddha's story? Sat under the tree for 20 years or so. And got it, had this, time to go. Because he realized only he is meeting him. There's nowhere to go. In the higher worlds, there's nowhere to go. There's no separation anymore. It's you. And you and I merge as one. So it's cool stuff. Okay, so let me go over some of these. I found some of these. We found this picture very interesting. And I suppose this is for YouTube. Where to begin? Firstly, let me say I'm so grateful to find you while you are still fighting the fight. Thanks. Someday I would love not to fight the fight, but that's what I do. They send me here to fight the fight. My name is Jenn. We got a lot of Jenns, boy. And I'm a 35-year-old mother to 3 children. Oh, how neat. My first 2 were born with complications. I'll start with Callum. We found out in utero that he had a hole in his face. Oh my God. Long story short, this was Callum born. Oh, here's a picture of this. It's called a Tessier Cleft, something like that. Have you had any info on that at all? It's when a cleft occurs on the face but not on the lip or palate. Yeah, we're familiar with that. See that picture? Sweet little thing. You know, this is why we do these things. This is exactly why we do these things. This is karma, but we also can stop this and unwind it and go on. So this little one needs regeneration big time, right? And I would say that mom or dad, you guys, and there's contributing factors to these weaknesses. And this was my point about genetics. It's getting scary out there in the genetic world. And it's only you guys that listen to this and understand. I don't mean this from a narcissistic point of view at all. This is truth, pure and simple. You can't deny it, can't fight it. It is what it is, and you can prove it every time. Some of you struggle. Can't say you're not. And there's karma to think of. There's a lot of levels of yourself to think about. And emotional detox, we're just discussing this with this young man that's really getting in there. And emotional detox is real. That's your adrenal glands, and that is down in so many of us. I mean, it's everywhere. So there's a lot of emotional karma going on here. But when you see problems in tissues, they're just replicating off of the original tissue. I mean, off of a stem cell. So the consciousness is weakening generation after generation after generation. And we're seeing all kinds of stuff. And I've been talking to you guys a long time about this because I've been thinking about this for I don't know how long, you know, how many years, and why I'm into regeneration. And you moms, please take the time to regenerate yourself before you have children. I would take a baby like this and get them right on the coconut milks and right on the fruits. How old is this young lad? And I would go in and go for regeneration. I'd get that baby so healthy that all the cells will rearrange themselves and get the cells healthy. Scar tissue will eat up, all these things like this. And that's your only hope you have, because no surgery is going to ever get you perfect. I mean, I've seen some good surgeons come close, no question, but as a rule, those are far and few between. Everybody's seeking those people out, and they become unaffordable after a while. So, you know, some surgeons are, you know, just like some carpenters and like some plumbers and some everybody else. Some naturopaths and, you know, so forth and so on. But, boy, would I be into regeneration, and I would be into, we have, of course, there are glandulars for a lot of things. And with babies, you can use little pieces, little, you know, little powder. But, beautiful eyes here. I'd love to take a little picture, or somehow you might want to sneak a picture of your boy's eyes here and see if we can see what's going on upstairs. I would be after that pituitary. I'd be after the hypothalamus. You want to do upper circulation. You want to regenerate this young man. And you know immediately you're going to have kidneys. Now I'll show you the young lad today. But I would get all these children on high levels of fruits and start thinking about regeneration. To get to that level of tissue regeneration, all the glands have to be on. All the glands, particularly the pituitary, the central nervous system, obviously, then the adrenals, the kidneys, all the reasons why all those systems are down genetically. You have to understand, you're looking back at causative factors always. What causes all this? Why the genetic weaknesses? If someone says it isn't lifestyle, they're smoking something real bad in the back room. Because chemistry and physics rules everything. And to sit there and think, oh, these diseases just land on you, you're just bad luck and all this, and it's autoimmune. Everybody's got autoimmune problems, do they? I mean, this is all bull crap. I don't care. And you medical doctors, get out of that thinking. Come over here and learn how to regenerate tissue. No ego involved. Let's work with me. We'll regenerate the world. And then your heart will be good. But you want to get into this young man. He wears glasses too. So this will go in. You get into the adrenals and kidneys just like you would anyone else. You're going after the lymph system. Because when you see pituitaries down and anything down, you're after the lymphatic system. Because genetically, remember we were talking about Jensen's take on this? I've proved this. I see this in the eye all the time. We talk about it in our classes. How when you see genetic lacunas, you see that lip, if you will, of lymph that encircles the lacuna. Almost as if, remember the law of nature, the strong survive, the weak are consumed. It's almost like when you have genetics, the weaknesses, the lymph just is there to take that down, to take it out. Nature does not like weaknesses, and you see that on every animal show there is. And you have to understand it applies to humans, it applies to the human cell. So you don't want to weaken yourself, you want to strengthen yourself. Well, how do you weaken yourself? Well, you could overwork. You could bang yourself up against a tree snowboarding. You could have car accidents. But what goes in here, what goes on here, is everything to your experience of health or not. What we have been taught, foods that are healthy are not even foods. And the way man destroys his food, thinking it's going to keep some E. coli and bacteria crap down, he's lost in space. And that's the trouble with our societies right now. They're just, particularly America, we're way out there right now. The FDA is way too far out there. Got to rein them back in a little bit. Because raw has been in, always raw milk. And to be so trapped in this concept of pathogens, that's a bad karma for allopathy. We need to set things straight. So I invite all medical doctors to join me to set things straight. Use nature as your barometer, not some university book by some professor who wrote a book that couldn't cure anything. And realize there are systems you don't know yet, like the new lymphatic system. There are systems in the body you guys haven't discovered yet. Enter the new lymphatic system, and there's more of them. You'll find them. Keep looking. Here's a button. That's why we do this. These kids, these souls that are trapped in these bodies. Now this, as bad as this is, God, we get so much worse. So, that's why we all need to learn how to get healthy and regenerate the human body. And it is regenerable. You don't have just one force at work here, you have two. You have deterioration, but you have regeneration. Remember that. Some might have to work harder to get it. Okay, I can't help that. I can only tell you it exists, and you can have it, and you can get it. And don't let anybody tell you you can't. And generally the people that tell you you can't get healthy, you can't get well, and you can't regenerate are those that don't know anything about health whatsoever. I find that interesting. Someone comes in my door and asks me a plumbing question. Of course, I know plumbing. Okay, air conditioning. Someone comes in and asks me something about air conditioning. It's not my field. I don't know. I don't work with that. I've plumbed whole houses before myself, electrical myself, so I know how to do all that. I don't know air conditioning. So I can say, you want to work your baby. How old are we here? I won't go into it all. I'm sure you don't need the whole story. I'd love to have it sometime, though, dear. However, with regards to Callum, as you can see, is missing bone and skull. Okay, so this is what I'm saying about regeneration. You get up on that raw, and these cells go back to their patterns in the mind, because you got to realize every single thing that's here also exists mentally, emotionally, and here. You can't just exist here without first coming through the mind and emotions. They're first. If someone writes a book, they're first talking about a book. If someone writes a book, the book's already there in the middle worlds. It's already there. Then you're bringing it down. You're bringing it down to this level. It's already conceived because the mind is like that. When you image something, it's done. It's created right there in the middle worlds, and you can see it in the middle worlds. You see it here through your imagination, but take your attention off the physical and go to the mental worlds totally consciously, and you'll really see what I'm talking about. This is a client that got rid of her breast cancer. Look at this one. And I told you all to write your books. So, and we're going to carry them for you. Of course, everyone else will too, hopefully. And get this out here. And look at how this lady did such a beautiful job here. And I love how she titled this. Very intelligent, spiritually aware lady. How I gave myself cancer and how to get rid of it. If you want to get one, we've got them. But she did just what you guys are doing. Last week alone, we had 4 cases of breast cancer. Boom. One pituitary tumor gone. So you see, people are out there knocking it out. Some of you are struggling, I know that. Some of you just can't seem to get out of that pain area. And that's because we're so dehydrated. You have to look at anything that can bring alkaline chemistry into that body to start hydration. But kidney filtration is central, and I don't know how to make that happen faster. I'm hoping with you guys and everything we can make these things happen faster. So, when you're talking about bone and skin, you're going to regenerate tissue. When you get up into the central nervous system, you're kicking up the autonomic nervous system, you're moving out the acids, you're now getting into these areas that are dark and bringing the light in there and regenerating that. Then that bone, especially, how old is he now? A parting gift from my Nana, I have no doubt. He just had his checkup. He's 3 years now. He's 3 years old. All 3 holes are closed, no allergies. Okay, you want to get up in your young 3 years old, should be all on fruits, berries, and melons, period. If you can get your son to that level, or at least have some vegetables, fruit vegetables, like cucumbers and avocados and things like that, perfect. Things like that better. And chewing on lettuce isn't anybody's passion, or many people's passion. You want flavor, you want things that will digest, things like that. But with him, you want not only to clean him, you want to enhance the pituitary, the growth factors, the hypothalamus. You want to enhance the autonomic. You want to go after that young man, and everything will close, and then it'll rearrange itself if it needs to. Remember, we see this over and over again. It's cool stuff. And at 3, should be on total fruits, berries, and melons. My 3-year-old grandson is. Not exclusively, real close. As close as you can get for a 3-year-old with a dad that likes meat. Oh, but his stomach's so bad now I had to stop eating it. Interesting. Huh. He had to have antibiotics while in hospital. He was an emergency C-section. Since about 4 months, he is 4.5 now. Oh, since for 4 months, he is 4.5 now. He has food allergies. Well, you see what I'm saying? When you see these areas like this, excuse me, remember, inside extreme acidosis. That's why we detox them. Because you don't come out like this in an alkaline environment. You come out in a highly acidic environment, and this is just more proof of that with the allergies. What system is allergies deal with? Well, you got two to guess from, right? You got blood, and you got lymph, which is your main immune system, right? Right. So which one do you think that is? Lymph. So you already know this young lad needs to get his health back because he doesn't have it. You don't come mutated when you're healthy. So to get there, you have to open those doors that create acidosis to create mutation. See what I'm going? So you've got to go after this young lad's kidneys and adrenals, because any child born today, they're going to be way down in kidneys and adrenals. Watch the blood pressure. You just check them. You'll see for yourselves. So you want to go after your children's kidneys and adrenals, their lymph systems, and their glands. Let me see. where his back teeth are all lumpy. He has holes in them. Now, what other gland? You know, you're talking about growth hormones and things like that. You know the pituitary is involved in this case, no question, correct? Now, where else might we go when we're referring to skeletal tissue? Knowing that the pituitary influences that. Parathyroid. So you definitely want to look at that parathyroid. So I'd give him parathyroid, bones. I would go then to the pituitary, give him a little pituitary. You just need a little dash and a glandular. But you could use the herbs too. That might be enough. So we have herbal formulas for endocrine glands, or we have the pituitary formula. You can play with those. But play I would. And mostly those are berries. So there's no, it's pure nutrition. So look at that and work on that. But at the same time, this lad's got to have his lymph system cleaned. That's the allergies and all that. But all that's going to be with children like this. Because you can't get to these states without going through this extreme acid downhill climb. And that goes back to mom. No offense, mom, but you're a good woman. Can tell. But you got to get yourself cleaned up. Because your genes, all these genes are coming down. It could be the father's genes, but there's genes coming down. And somebody's got to stop and regenerate before they continue to conceive. Or you see how bad it's going to get. Say this young lad they don't do too much. He scampers along, and then 18 he finds a woman, gets married, and boom, 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 and she has a child. See where I'm going? There's a time and a place, and we don't have time to sit here and pat each other on the back with pseudo kind of things. It's time we roll up our sleeves and fix the world. Not gonna play, okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Medical Doctor, okay, we'll work with you. You work with us. We're going to fix and clean and repair and rebuild people. It's a fun thing. You doctors are doctors, so you get people well. Some of you are there, obviously, for financial reasons. I know that. I know many of them that are. I know a lot of medical doctors, guys. Lots of them. Dennis said they won't last till the next comes through. So you want that parathyroid. Because that parathyroid, see, what's going to happen is all these docs are going to say, well, I can't ever do this. They're going to make you do things that, of course, will end up affecting the ability to do that, to fix that. And that's the sad thing about that. We can go after this young man now, start strengthening all connective tissue and skeletal tissue, including teeth. How do you do that? You get rid of why you lose that. You get rid of why. First, acidosis. At the same time, at this age, you're into glands, baby. You're into the glands. You're into growth hormones, you're into glands. You're not giving them. Now, that'd be not good. But you're into making these glands healthy again. So when you say, I'm into making these glands healthy again, you have to look and say, well, what made them unhealthy in the first place? Well, this one you can say genetics. Easy to throw out the word genetics. Easy. But when you're looking at a mother with a child, and someone said genetics, who are you looking at? Mom, or dad, or both. It could be grandpa, grandma on both sides. That's what my point is. Everybody's got to work on themselves. Mom and dad and baby too. Because these areas will come up and hit you in future events. I would say look for which the mom, the dad, which one's the shorter one, which one has calcium problems. Do you have postpartum depression after these children? That would lead to parathyroid in your hands. I mean, you want to look at all these things. The eyes have all the answers there in terms of genetics and tissues, and so getting eye pictures would be really, really good. He breaks out in hives. He had eczema all over his body, but now it is just his feet. See, all this is telling you how bad your son's lymph system is, my dear. So you got a detoxification child in front of you. Because remember, detoxification is the process to tissue regeneration. This isn't detox someone off a little bit of beer or wine or something like that. I don't know who thinks of that stuff. This is serious business. This is how you regenerate the human cell. Demineralization, that's what I'm saying. Demineralization happens in an acidic medium, guys. So let's go back to meat eating. Demineralization, because what is it high in? Phosphorus. What's your teeth high in? Calcium. Has phosphorus, but there's calcium is the top. You pump the phosphorus and you push the calcium out. And so protein is well known to rob calcium out of the body. So when we say come off of high proteins, there's multiple reasons why. Multiple reasons why. So you want to get this young man moving, because that tells you what's acidic. His head. That means his bowels and everything down below is too. And so you see that in his head. You've got to get that lymph flowing in this child, or it's just going to chew him up. Once you get the hydration going and you start focusing on the endocrine glands, you will see your child regenerate. Bone regenerate, you'll start to see all that regenerate. And at a much faster pace, and at this age, he should regenerate really, really good. So it'll be a good case to see what you can do with your son. But I'll tell you, I think you can do unbelievable things. I think you can stop all this crap and get his body back into a state of wellness, sweetheart. But you're going to have to start just like you would on yourself or anybody else out there. When you understand what systems are down and how that works genetically and everything, then you know what you got to do. And that's only one road to walk. There isn't multiple roads to God or multiple roads to Wellville. You've got many roads that appear to go to God, but they have dead ends to them. And each one is a different level. This road goes 10 miles, this road goes 20 miles. If you want the true Godhead, you don't have to go anywhere. You must just go within to understand who you are. Dentist said they won't last till the next come through at about 10 years old, so they'll put metal caps over them. That's what I'm talking about. Do you think this has something to do with his bones missing in his face? I sure do. I sure do, sweetheart. Got thinking about, your body's just a bunch of cells, but who's the director of the traffic of cell regeneration or cell degeneration, or just activity and the like, and growth and everything? Are your endocrine glands. The glands control everything through what they produce. Hormones, steroids, neurotransmitters, serotonins, similar to neurotransmitters. So those glands is what you want, because that's not working for him, because that's what didn't give him complete growth factors. And of course, the suppression of the parathyroid. And it would be quite instrumental if you had some postpartum depression, because that would show definitely the link to parathyroidism. But this is pituitary with a parathyroid, but the pituitary controls the parathyroid. You get those up, now you're influencing the tissues. The tissues just are tissues. They respond. Growth, any other factors respond to hormones, steroids, neurotransmitters, da-da-da-da-da. So by making your glands healthy, that will increase the production of these constituents, which then will have a regurgitation or a blowback to the cell. Now, you also have to make sure that cell is in a hydrated, healthy state, or trying to influence cells in extreme acidic environments is difficult. Difficult. I breastfed for 9.5 months, and he ate mostly veggies and little stews. Thought I was feeding him healthy. Kick him up to another level. You're definitely healthier than the average person, sweetheart, but kick him up now to the highest level you can, because that's in regeneration. Treat him like a frugivore that he is. An islander baby on islander foods. Get the coconut, water, and milks and meat if you want to grind up and make a drink for him that way. I would definitely do upper circulation, brain and nerve. I would definitely get into the pituitary formula, the herbal for now. I'd get in the endocrine gland formula. Myself and I think I would have a little pinch of parathyroid glandular myself. You need help, honey, you call in here and I'll help you with a protocol. Then he got really picky come 2 years. That's what my son did. He's about to go some procedures to get some skin over his left eye. My partner and I take turns getting up every 3 hours to put gel in his face to stop it drying out. That's how acidic he is. He's so dehydrated and acidic, he dries out. And of course you're going to lose calcium to that, all of those things. You can stop that. You can stop all this. I would use creams though, like we have. because we have an Amish cream that's all food. But we also, Mary Gladstar makes an incredible face cream, herbal face cream. She's got a prize-winning face cream, Mary Gladstar. And then we got the healing salves, you know, which are nothing but your hemp oils and your olive oils and your grapeseed oils, healing oils. Grapeseed oil, very healing oil. These are anti-inflammatories, but you really want to moisten and hydrate your son. You got to go through the channel of kidneys, adrenals, and lymph. It's the only way. You can keep putting oils on, but depending what they're giving you to put on him could be add to part of the problem. It depends on chemistry. And I don't trust pharmaceutical salves or anything like that. You want herbal salves that can have a good kick into the tissue regeneration and tissue health. Something that is not antagonistic or foreign to nature. Pharmaceuticals are foreign to nature. Nature doesn't know what to do with them, except attack. We tried to say the least. The gel is made of liquid paraffin and white paraffin. Yeah, you know what? I would keep an herbal thing on him. At least keep the oils, well, buffer acids, and keep that acidosis in check. They're just trying to lock it in. It's like, no. You wanna use oils. Remember, it's an acid environment, and you want to counter that. To counter that, you must go to the base side. And oils, remember, the lymph system is an oil-based system, a lipid-based system. So you want to use that oils on the skin. And grapeseed being the best in terms of feeding. It goes down in subcutaneously, goes right down in, and has a nutritive effect on the body. You can do these oils and healing salves, and it'll actually help to heal tissue. And I would be doing that on my grandkids and stuff. I am holding him back a year starting school as he can't write or draw anything at all. That's why the upper circuit brain and nerve, honey, because as we get in there and we start turning on all the central nervous system, you'll see we can get him caught up, we can get him aware and comprehension levels and all this. We just need regeneration of this child, because there's no way allopathy can do a thing with this child except fix and patch and stuff like that. Even that can leave scar tissue in a highly acidic medium. This is going to be hard on your son to heal properly. So for all reasons, whether they patch or not patch, whatever, for all reasons, and if they take skin, you want that to heal. So you really, for all reasons, want to get your boy Alcon. Could you please shed any light on my son's issue? Absolutely, happy to. Happy to. My second son was found to have an irregular heartbeat at 36.5 weeks, and they gave him a general and an emergency C-section. He only had the Vit K and maybe some antibiotics. Thankfully, his ventricular ectopic, oh, they were ventricular beats, huh? Wow, not good in a young lad like that. Ventricular beats, remember your heart has 4 chambers. The top ones are atrials, the bottoms are ventricles. Where your right atrial is where your electricity starts in what they call the SA or sinus node. When you're electrical, and that polarizes, in other words, that opens the valve to let blood go from one chamber to the next. When your electricity starts in the lower chambers, there's no opening the valve. That's why when you get too much of a rhythm from the ventriculars, you're out of here. VTAC pretty much means your eyes are rolling back and another journey is about to take place. Thankfully, beats cleared up 3 months later, just in time as the doctor was going to put him on heart meds for a year. Well, again, I'd go after these boys in every way. That's an electrical department. The electrical department, that electrical department is controlled by the adrenal glands. I would go into there. You're going to go into upper circumbrain nerve for the parasympathetic side of that. Again, I would be wanting to check calcium. I would be wanting to check parathyroid, because calcium plays a major role in neurotransmitter transportations. So, big deal. So this is, you really want to look at both of these sons for the same type of reason, or the same type of need. My nanny died that Christmas day. And I was holding Leon in my arms when he jolted in my arms and started crying. It wasn't till the next day that I could get my hands on his stethoscope and discovered his heart was beating normal. A parting gift from my Nana. Isn't that cool stuff? That stuff chokes me up. I love stuff like that. We all should love stuff like that. The beautiful side of life and the esoteric side of life. The side of life that's far beyond this world. This is just a little ash can world where dreams are limited to very, very finite chemistry. Not so in some of the worlds. All 3 holes also closed, no allergies, and it's a good drawer. Because just keep in mind, my third, Heidi, 20 months, was breastfed for 5.5 months, and ever since 3 weeks old, she's been 99% percentile for her weight. Solid munchkin, only Vite K at birth, and no known problems. You know what? I would definitely get all your whole family on the same diet, Jen, and get everybody healthy, sweetheart. We got some mighty fine young'uns there, and you want to get these young lads back into a state of wellness. But let this be a lesson to all of us. And mothers, the young mothers, please, if these videos do anything, I hope they help you young mothers to have good, strong babies. Okay? Yeah, let's see who this is from. Oh, this is from David. Hello, David. Dear Dr. Morse, thank you for all the information over the years. Oh, you're welcome, my friend. Currently, and you see why, when you see cases like that, if you're any type of good soul, that's going to bother you. I am in a dilemma. After getting into the fruits and herbs, I am now unsure about raw foods, as TMC, traditional Chinese medicine, says raw foods are bad, and also Ayurvedic says to say raw foods are not good for my constitution. What are your thoughts on this? I think they're full of crap. I think traditional Chinese medicine has a lot to learn. I think there's some good formulas in traditional Chinese medicine, some old formulas. Remember I'm talking about Jin Jiao and some of the karate stuff, martial arts stuff? So there's some good traditional formulas. But there's a lot of crap. There's a lot of crap in Chinese herbal lore. You know, like tiger paws and gallbladder bears and stuff like this. That's bull crap. They're just like any other modality, same with Ayurvedic. They all don't get the same thing you guys get. You can't use herbs to treat man's problems and not think a bit about how you got them. You can't keep ignoring as man dietary habits. You can't keep ignoring what we're doing to our air. So what you breathe, what you drink, what you eat, and what you put on your skin is total chemistry and physics. I don't know what any other health modality is thinking, but if you don't directly understand that, then you can't tout yourself as a health modality, because that's essential that you understand that. I don't know what to say. So, it's enough to say that in no way in hell is cooked food better than raw food. Those macrobiotics and those type of people, they don't have a clue. And look at them. Gray, no life. There's no animal on this planet that cooks their food. I'm going to take nature's and animals' advices over a couple of people that think they know better. We couldn't regenerate any of you guys on cooked food. Are you kidding? That's what makes you sick. Think about this. What animal cooks their food before they eat it? None. Why? All right, what happens when you cook food? All right, you destroy all the water solubles. All right, that's your flavonoids or vitamin C's, B's. Wait a minute, aren't those real important? Well, I just killed them. Well, I can supplement, that's it. God made nature, and then we made supplements, and okay. You see the wackiness of that? You know more than they do, and you guys are going to have to get with this, that you guys are learning more than most other practitioners even. This is a practitioner site. I've turned you all into practitioners on purpose, because you can heal yourselves. And you can heal everyone else that doesn't know the truth like you guys do. But you must have living foods. Try this. If you've been on living foods, go ahead and go back to cooked foods for a while. Just go back to eating all your foods cooked. See how you feel. All you got to do, don't believe anybody, try it on for yourself. There's a huge difference. Huge difference. Man is already eating cooked foods. When I see these people say crap like this, I want to say, take a look around, bros. Everybody does cook their food. No, not at all. No, they don't even know what they're talking about. As a matter of fact, traditional Chinese medicine needs to come way on up and understand. Same thing with Ayurvedic. And dividing people up into different, your 4 different types. Sorry. I mean, we're a species. We're a species. And yes, genetics and the wayward bound of the world has definitely made some tall, some short, some this, some that. No question. Some stocky, some big bones. What does make the differences in your body genetically? Your glands. We all are tropical species. But if you're going to eat like an Eskimo, you're going to become an Eskimo. You become the very thing you eat. And remember, the lifespan of an Eskimo used to be 46 years old. Same back in Jesus' time. There was no longevity there. That's why they understood raw. Jesus, the Essenes, the Agnostics, they all taught raw foods. How many years ago was that? See what I'm saying? Don't buy into people that think they know that cooked foods is good and stuff like that, because these people are smoking some bad weed in the back room somewhere. No offense. But you just can't keep ignoring the fact that man's problem is because he's cooking. You don't have to cook your foods and destroy them. But they are habit forming. There's no question. I have some cooked vegetables myself. But my raw is top number 1, uno, always. Without that, I couldn't make it. I don't know how we could make it. So, you're right, they're wrong, David. The Terminator. I'm not sure what information you're looking for, so I'll just give the basics. I'm 29 years old, 5'9", 210 pounds. I had a stone in my salivary gland a few years back. I passed it and thought nothing of it. Now, years later, I got another stone. This one don't come out so easy. It took a long time to pass. Then I get another stone and it won't come out. Oh man, I ended up getting a pretty nasty infection and went to the hospital for antibiotics. After the swelling went down, I passed another stone, but can tell that there are still more stones in the gland. I believe these stones are in the submanbular gland underneath my tongue. But I tell you, I had a case once where this lady had extreme tongue pain. And boy, can you imagine, because this little baby's sensitive. Can you imagine having extreme tongue pain constantly? I felt so sorry for her. We got it out of her, but it was like, oh my God. All right, so let's start. All right, I passed them through a hole in the bottom of my mouth. Oh, wow. I have been sucking on lemons and drinking lemon juice to try and help pass them. I think you're right on, man. Because remember, when fluids become acidic, they dehydrate, meaning your electrolytes are burning, because to fight acids you need the other side of chemistry. We would generally refer those to as electrolytes because they conduct electricity. But how be it as it is, any alkaline principle will be used to fight an acid principle. Just chemistry, only 2 sides to it. Very simple to understand. If you got a man, you can fight him with another man, but you're going to have a hell of a brawl. Or you get a woman in there, and that balances out everything. And that's a male fighting a male is acid on top of acid. A woman fighting a male is base fighting an acid. Now, a woman fighting a man, who's going to win most cases? Unless it's that woman on The Bachelor. Holy crap, did you guys catch The Bachelor? I like the old farm boy. Reminds me of the old days, although I don't want to see farming. If I'm having a farm, I'm not going to have crops and hay and stuff like that. No. So, this lady on The Bachelor, she's pretty strong. pretty strong woman. So, most of the time, men are going to win over the woman, meaning that acids are stronger than bases. It takes more bases to fight acids. That's why acids are on the minor side of this planet and the bases rule. Remember, this is a female planet in chemistry, ran by men. So, we need more female power in the body. We need more alkaline chemistry because acids are ruling. Why? Because they're not being removed properly. You remove cellular wastes, which are acids, properly, and there's no accumulation, there's no acidosis accumulating interstitially, and that's also within glands, by the way, and particularly salivary glands, lymph nodes, all these things. All our fluids become acidic, and you start forming stones like gallstones, kidney stones, salivary stones, all these things. So to stop this, you're right on the right track with the lemon juice. Grapes would do it, but getting those kidneys opened up, getting the adrenals up, really getting interstitially because it's all over. And you're talking way up here. That means way down here is really involved, Dave. I said, Dave, who's this one? Oh, Terminator. See what I'm saying? So, to alkalize, you got to go to the raw foods. You got to go to the raw fruits, berries, melons, and veggies. If you want to dig in and get these stones dissolved quicker, then I would stay fruits and berries and melons. Get my kidneys filtering, get my lymph moving, and let this process of hydration happen. Because the more acidic a person is, the more involved head to toe he is, the longer it takes, no question. But you want to stop forming them. It's just saying you're too acidic. So what's going on with your teeth and gums? Because if you're having this problem, your gums are acidic, you're going to have your roots being chewed on and everything else from acids. Since this all started happening, I started to change my diet and exercise dramatically. I'm trying to cut out all processed foods, breads, dairy, etc. Smart guy or woman. Doing fairly well and only improving. It's only a matter of time before I'm mostly raw. Perfect. And then as you hydrate, all these stones will dissolve up. But not only that, you'll probably kick them out when they get so small, But on the other side of that, stop any deterioration that might be taking place underneath the gums that you're unaware of, or if you are aware of it and having teeth problems, this will help you to head down that road of remedy. I have been drinking green juices and fruit smoothies, homemade with no preservatives or additives. Good. My old diet was mostly pasta, sandwiches, mac and cheese, etc. Yeah. Well, that's about a typical American diet right there. The doctor wants to do a CAT scan and is talking about removing the gland. Nah. You see what I'm saying? This is the problem with that modality. They should have been able to answer your question here. That's the problem. We all need to be on the same page, but we're not going to be on their page. There's not a good page. We all need to work together, but they need to understand how you fix these people while removing glands. And then setting them up with dry mouth. It just goes on and on and on, on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And the CAT scan is going to burn you even more. Unless you find a digital one. Also, a smoker, and that's a problem because smoke is acidic, and you're bringing that smoke right in, of course, right into the lungs, and then right into the blood without a liver kick or a balancing, right in. So that's why it's so devastating to tissue, because those acids are not allowed to be buffered by the liver. And it's right off to the cells. And so this is a big deal. I use cannabis daily and smoke about 5 cigs a day. Use vaporizers or brownies or something like that for a while and try. I'll tell you what, if you're going to do those things, you're going to smoke, you're only doing 5 a day, you might want to do this baking soda, aluminum free, in water, in about a cup of water, about a teaspoon and a cup of water, and sip on it, especially after you smoke and everything else. Keep this alkaline in your mouth and swallow it too. I mean, in other words, sip on it and start bringing your body more into a base balance. And that'll help. That'll help with the stones and everything else. But if you buy in and have them remove it, and I don't think you will, I read you're smarter than that, you'll save a lot of discomfort in the future, let me tell you. Talk to anybody ever had them removed? I believe that I was living dehydrated. Boy, are you smart. You guys are getting it so well. I just love you guys. For a few years, which also helped facilitate the stones. Right on. Right on. Really good. Also had poor oral hygiene. Only brushed once or twice a week. Well, you know what the thing is. When you're eating starches and stuff like that, they all lock on the teeth. Of course, there's no digestion of protein in your mouth, so pieces of whatever protein you're eating, nuts or dead animals, whatever, can still be in your teeth 2 or 3 days later. So, you know, you ever notice a carnivore or an omnivore why they swallow their food? There's no digestion in your mouth, so why waste? Funny. But you get a real good idea of how you're creating this. So I think this is really good. You guys are so good. So all these improvements seem to be helping, but I'm afraid that the gland is dead. Nah, I wouldn't. Nah. Hydrate more, dig in more, get those kidneys filtering, get lymph moving more and more, and just try to put up with that. Better to put up with that a little bit and keep hydrating, keep digging in. Even if you have to use Hill all tea, hold it in your mouth. Do that. Use the Hill all tea. And use the baking soda, aluminum free, and there's a lot of little tricks you can use to help get your hydration quicker and enable to heal, even with this great improvement in my lifestyle. I don't think so. I bet you'll be pleasantly surprised, my friend. My mouth hurts less and less and seems to be getting very much better slowly. Keep it up, get a little more aggressive, do these things that I'm telling you, save the gland, and you'll be able to save all this, my friend. I'll show you how. I'm worried that by not having it removed, I'm risking infections. No, because what system deals with infections? The same system that deals with the stones? See where I'm going with this? Keep moving lymph, my friend. Keep moving lymph. That's the only time you get infectious, which means suddenly acidosis. Think of that the same thing, because then you're going to have a bacterial response because it's acidic. I mean, nature is coming in to help you. Medical doctors, this is the problem. We can't get along with killing bacteria that's there to help you. That's not what we would be doing. We'd be after the cause of this problem, which is the lymph system. So the infection is lymph stagnation. This is your sewer system. Nobody likes sewage backing up in their house, I can tell you. Some of you might have never experienced that, where your toilet overflowed and you forgot to clean your septic tank. Nasty. It's just, and you realize sewage is backing up around all your cells when you're not filtering from your kidneys. And this sewage is acidic. So now you're going to have an immune response called inflammation, meaning your body's after it. I'm coming after these acids because if I don't, the potential to break down my cell or the surrounding cells is high. And of course, that's what you see. That's why they dubbed the word cancer for a highly damaged cell by acids. So what am I asking is, can I heal myself with whole foods, exercise, positive thinking, juicing, fasting, weight loss? I'm trying to cut out the zigzag. I think you're right on point, my friend. You're doing well. Dig in a little harder. Definitely after you smoke the stuff, do the baking soda rinse, and maybe use the Hill all tea to start drawing and pulling around the mouth a little bit, and you'll get this. You'll get this well. Rewrite it and edit it more. I hope that's helpful. But don't run out and have things removed when you can fix these things, because it's not fun to remove your saliva glands, because dry mouth's not fun. Dry eyes, crying acid tears. You see how trouble we are, guys? We're in a lot of serious trouble here in our health issues on this planet. We don't have time to sit there and say, well, let's just play patsy with each other. I'm not here for that. I wasn't sent here to do that. We've done it too long enough, and now God said go, and that's what we're doing. I can't do anything but that, guys. I apologize. I might get a little caught up in governments and stuff like that, but I'm not well. I don't do well with corruption because of its effect on people, on life. You know, so bad. Too many suffering already at this level. It's just as a suffering level. Thank you so much for your videos and all the effort you put into helping others. Oh, thanks. Who is this? Oh, Diana. Hi, Diana. Thanks, sweetheart. I appreciate the thought. I know we're trying awful hard. You know, digging through all this stuff. I mean, the fight has been long and hard, let me tell you. But you know what, you beautiful souls, all you people that wrote in and to YouTube, some of the things you were saying, right on. You know, thank you so much. I mean, it's, I think the world thanks you all that participated in helping, because you know, when you have information like we do to help the world, it does not want to get out there. But it can't stop it. It can shut us down. Too many of you already know. What, are you going to kill us all? I don't think so. Incredible amount of energy and love. The YouTube channel is like a gold mine. Oh, it is. The YouTube channel, there's so many different channels out there. I mean, on the YouTube, there's so many things out there. It's amazing. I want this to be an educational channel, a serious educational channel of how you can get out of suffering and out of pain and get your health back. And if you're mutations, you can regenerate them. So that's all this is. Almost, what, 6 years sly, 5 years sly of 50 years I've been in here. And we've had a lot of amazing success in these years throughout the world. It's amazing. But that's what drives our awareness and drives our knowingness, is the fact that we've cleaned up tens and tens of thousands of people worldwide in every condition you can name. And I get them sometimes and never heard of them. So what? Location, location, location. Don't let anything, for you guys that are helping others, don't let these medical words this long affect your ability to understand that whatever you see is always acidosis in tissue, always inflammation in tissue, and how that affects that tissue. If it's a gland, it can affect the production of different steroids, different hormones. Do we address those, or do we go after and make the gland healthy? See what I'm saying? By addressing them individually, we can hurt the person. By addressing the gland, we can help the person, because the gland will become healthy and produce the amount of hormones and steroids appropriate for that individual's consciousness. Mouthful. I appreciate all the videos and always looking forward. You know, thank you for that, because you know, we get tired here sometimes. You know, we're pumping this out as fast as we can because we have so many of you that are hurting, and I just feel so bad to miss anybody, you know. Personally, I've had great results on the raw diet, got rid of terrible migraines, my nerves calmed down a lot, as if I was a difficult person, which is good considering I used to be a real dragon. And it's good you know that. I'll be always grateful for all the... Oh, that's so good. I'm glad. I love you too. I do. Now, I am trying to help my brother, who is 39, and I hope perhaps you could include his case in one of the videos. Yeah, absolutely. He had a root canal many, many years ago on the top left side, okay? Top left side. Then about 3 years ago, he had nasal polyps. Any connection? So he had a scan, and they found that when the root canal was done, they went too much up into the bone, and that is possible irritation. It's possible, but that's not, I don't think, caused the nasal polyps, to be honest with you. You know, that's all lymph. You know, and that's the problem. Is your bro a milk drinker, ice cream eater, yogurt consumer, kefir drinker, or cheese eater? Those three are nasal polyp stuff. Oh, nasal polyp stuff. You can go right up into the sinus cavity. But that necessarily wouldn't create a polyp. But it's possible. I mean, I guess if the polyp was right over that, but it would have to invade the sinus cavity, I would think. If not, it shows that the reason that you had the root canal was what? Length, right? I mean, when you see deterioration, remember there's only two sides of chemistry. Don't let the medical influence come in. Go to chemistry. Only two sides of it. Which one could possibly break down my teeth? Or my gums? Acids. Well, what system in your body deals with acids? We know the blood don't. Try acidifying your blood for over 5 minutes. Now remember, get a will ready and everything ready first. Let me see here. Causing constant inflammation. He feels too warm all the time. He feels too warm all the time. Well, his thyroid could be kicking up a little bit too much, creating too much warmth in the body. Because you're either too warm by thyroid, or what's the worst kind of I'm too hot? You guys are good. Systemic acidosis. How many of you have said over and over, I'm so hot, but I'm cold? So hot, but I'm cold. That is acidosis. I'm burning, I'm hot, I need something, I'm hot by thyroid. And remember, the pituitary controls thyroid and parathyroid. And I can smell his breath. That is something that is not right. Well, that's putrefaction or infection, one of the two. A lot of people, you can smell their gut through their mouth. They're so putrefied in the gut from so much meat that eating that they smell it. Their sewer system smells it. I prefer a sweet sewer system. I want to smell oranges coming out of my mouth, not dead tissue. Ooh, you don't want to kiss somebody with dead tissue smell. But he's probably highly infected in these areas and in the sinuses. And he might even be able to smell it a little bit himself. And it's just all congestion that's rotting your proteins. And these need to come out. Remember, if you can get a hold of that research paper on the lymphatic system, read what they say about proteins. A couple of years ago, I noticed that his right eye is much more bulging than before. Oh, really? Well, you know what? That is one sign of hyperthyroidism. And all this acidosis could be hyperstimulating the thyroid, or the pituitary flicking back to the thyroid. Either way, all this is highly acidic. You already know, or you wouldn't have to have the root canal, right? Yeah. Interesting, you must be the mother or the wife. Oh, the sister, that's right. Before, and is a bit disoriented. Wow. Well, you know what? Sounds like your bro, honey. He's got a lot going on up here. I don't like any of that. None of that is good. And he's only 39 years old. So, excuse me, still detoxing. Yeah. I mean, when I look at him, it just looks asymmetric. Just looks a bit wrong. Well, remember, we're bilateral. Each of our sides, you have a thyroid lobe on the right side and one on the left. Same with parathyroid glands. You got one kidney on the left and one kidney on the right. One adrenal gland on the left and one on the right. See what I'm saying? So you've got two sides coming together, sharing some common ground. It would not be a stretch to understand that one side of your body can look different than the other. We showed you eyes that were different, women's breasts are different, women's feet are different. Amazing. But you have two separate sides. That's why we check blood pressures bilaterally. We check blood pressures both sides, and if you want to get right to it, you could check blood sugars both sides. You'll find a different reading. Doctors, of course, can find anything. He had his thyroid checked. The eye had been seen by the eye doctor, but he says she couldn't see anything. Well, you would know more because that's your brother, and you've had years with him growing up and stuff. You would be able to see small changes like that where a medical doctor couldn't, nor probably I. However, it's wise of you to notice those changes, because it shows your spiritual side, of course, because you're observant. And those souls that are observant see more, know more, because they're not lost in the chatter of their mind playing the games out in the worlds. Or if they're playing the games, they're doing it consciously. It's getting worse. The eyelids are red and feels heavy. Interesting. This is extreme acidosis, honey, affecting the neurological, the central nervous system. So you might see his lids coming down and hanging low. None of this is good. So, your bro, if this is you, I'll talk to your brother here. Don't want to talk to you as your third party, but you want to get on this program, get your kidneys filtering, get your adrenals up, and get your lymph system moving. I would use upper circuit brain and nerve right off on my program. I would get up in here and get more oxygenated blood up in these areas. There's also herbs to regenerate neurons at the upper circuit, but then the brain and nerve is all about regeneration. But you also want to think, what is that root canal? What's that polyp? You want to clean the sinuses. To do that, you've got to clean the gut. You've got to get the kidneys filtering. So you want to introduce your brother to a higher way of living that he can have a lot more fun, and like himself more. Because the parathyroid is also there, which could lead him into depression. And with the parathyroid down, hey, you can't rebuild bone or gum or anything. You know where I'm going? He is not convinced that this is caused by the root canal. It's not caused by the root canal. Let's reverse this thinking. This is medical thinking. Oh, look, the root canal caused that. Let's go back further and say what caused the need for the root canal. That's your answer. What created the need for a root canal also is creating all the other stuff. Remember that. The root canal, they use toxins to fill the root canal, and yes, it killed the teeth because they didn't use calcium like they do in Europe, blah, 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 blah. But why? What deteriorating my teeth? What causes infection? What system would infection be in? The sewer system? Yeah. Could it overflow into the blood? Yeah, we know that. Do we want that? No. But for now, it's in the lymph system. But they inject through the blood, don't they? Okay, so he's right. I think your brother's totally right about that, dear one. He's got to think about why, again, for the root canal. Because it was on the left side, but I told him he has to think of his body as a whole, where everything can affect everything else. So finally, the tooth was removed months ago, but his condition hasn't improved because the problem isn't the teeth. The teeth are as much a victim as his eyes and everything else. See where we're going? Absolutely. The eye feels painful and tired all the time because you're addressing effects. That's medical thinking. You're addressing the effects. You have to stop, rewind, and go back. What's caused that? What caused him to need to have a root canal? What side of chemistry? If you use chemistry in everything you think about it first, just to get yourself grounded in that, it only has two sides. So which side of chemistry caused this? Then you can automatically go to, well, you only have two fluid-based systems that deal with this, so which one was it? Well, it's acids that caused it, so it can't be the blood. Where does that leave you? See where I'm going? And that's the sewer system. That's the acid, stinky sewer system. And our body has one 4 times bigger than its blood system. And it's got a lot of septic tanks in there. You've got a lot of septic tanks in your body. Now, he's on the eye formula, but that's good. I take it internally, but boy, I would go in systemically, hit those kidneys and adrenals, get that lymph going, get the GI tract cleaned up. You want to drain that sinus out and drain this out of here. And I would go back and go use that baking soda and use the Hill tea just like the other one. I'd be washing my mouth out with baking soda, water, a teaspoon in a cup of water, and throughout the day sip it, but let it absorb into the gums as much as possible. At night while I'm watching TV, I'd hold Hill tea. And just draw and pull and start cleaning. Internally, you want to go through the kidneys and adrenals. Really important. Also, I prepared him a little cotton pouch filled with linseed oil, so he can heat it and put it in the eyes. Oh man, you know what? Followed by a cold compress. I thought it could be good for the local circulation. He catches colds quite often, so what does that tell you? The nasal polyp is because his sinus is full of mucus, honey. He's full of mucus. That's why he doesn't catch a cold. Whatever he comes in contact, where it's a bacterium, a virus, whatever, is enough to trip his body into an elimination response. Now, you're not catching a cold. Notice cold and flu-like symptoms are all detoxification symptoms. When your body wants to purge itself, a little extra bacterium or virus or something can trip you into something like that. And the body's trying to purge it and it all out of you, out of itself. So, let me see. Tonsils were removed. See, there you go. He gets strep infection in the throat area. We all have staph and strep in us, guys. I want you to know we all carry that bacteria in us all the time. Probably a little pneumococcus. Remember what the job of bacteria are for. That's important. Remember, they're after the sewage. You want to kill them? What are you going to do with the sewage then? That's why antibiotics don't work. And that's why they set you up for even deeper problems. Because they're addressing the wrong thing. I don't align with that. Also, he's quite a nervous type, interestingly. So what gland would you might want to look at for that one? Adrenals. Definitely. Well, is that the tie-in then to the lymphatic, of course, into the lymph and into the acids? There you go. He gets stressed easy, and he seems to find it difficult to come to terms when things happen differently from what he imagined or planned. Well, this your brother has to get his glands in shape and spend a little time with himself and get happy with himself, get his glands in shape, get himself alkalized because he's going down some things. I don't like what you're seeing, and you want to fix that. I really appreciate if you could have a look at his case. I'm very happy to. There is another question that intrigues me for a long time. You know, when someone is too weak to undergo detox. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Let me highlight that. Is anyone ever too weak to go through detox? No. You're going to have cases that they're almost at death's door. And if you don't vitalize them, they're going to pass. As soon as you start giving someone raw foods, they're going to start automatically detoxifying. And you got to understand, it's not the foods, it's their body. It's the wisdom of the body. The raw foods are just the messengers. Here's the energy, here's the nutrition you need. Now work with it. And that's just what your body does. So, never think anybody's too weak to detoxify or you could lose some people. No one's ever. Matter of fact, detoxification is a revitalizing program. Yes, when you start detoxifying, your adrenals do tend to start going down to where they are genetically. So what was pumped up by kidneys that were inflamed and bloated is now relaxing because the energy and everything is moving better. Acids are coming out. And so adrenal glands go, and you go down to, you really get to see where your adrenals are now. And that's where people don't understand about detoxification. It's going to take you to your genetics, sorry. Like you learned, Shane, it'll take you to death's door and turn you around and bam, save your life. Don't ever count anyone out. Keep going. You never know. The body is the wise one. Plus, of course, all that's part of that mirror that's shattered in creation. See where I'm going? So, you got to change the way you think on that, dear one. No one is too weak to detox. Because you would never give someone too weak what? Meat? Cooked foods? Would you really give someone that's weak meat and cooked foods? That's a good way to kill them. Right there. Everything's energy driven, correct? Law of physics, all life seeks a homeostasis, correct? You got someone here weak and no energy, low neurotransmitters, etc., etc., etc. You're going to give them more foods that have no energy in them because the law of physics dictates that you're going to take more energy out of their body. And you're going to keep doing that and doing that till death. Living foods empowers, and what is the highest magnetically alive food on the planet? Fruits and berries. What's some of the highest nutritional foods on the planet? Ripe fruits and berries. So you're giving them the highest nutritional foods and the highest electrical foods. Yeah, their adrenals will go down, but you can buffer that with what? A glandular or an herb for the adrenals? Absolutely. But don't ever think anybody's too weak to detox, because that's the fallacy. And they need it bad, bad. But that's where the tools of nature come in. And we have tools. We have tools. They might have nice, shiny stainless steel saws and stuff like that. But we got botanicals. We've got a pharmacopoeia of botanicals like nobody's business. Good stuff. Need to be built up first. Can't build up if you're highly acidic. You're only going to keep building down. You're going to keep going down, going down, going down. And just drinking and just having a few raw foods, as some of you've seen, you got to jump into this, baby. Jump in like you're going on a new adventure. This is a great adventure, and turn it into that. If you turn it into something you got to do, I don't know why you even mess with it. But if you turn it in like, I just opened the door to a whole new world, a whole new adventure, woohoo, I'm going to have fun. That's what you want to look at this, because that's what you're doing. You're opening the door to God, baby, to the light, to the sound, to the power. Let me tell you, you're opening the door to who you really are. What can be better than that? Hiding out in creation, playing little Days of Our Lives games. So, no one is ever that way. And if you're too thin, you're malabsorbed. How do you fix malabsorption? Well, understand what malabsorption is. What's blocking absorption, malabsorption, not absorbing well through the bowel wall, that small bowel in particular? What would block that? Lymph stagnation. Look at the eye score. You guys that went to school, we show you. And we've tried to show you on YouTube here all the ring around most people, bowel, that is lymph in the bowel wall, and what that looks like in the eye. And how it gives that little brown malabsorption ring around the pupil. How do you fix that? How do you move lymph? How do you get that lymph out of the interstitial spaces of the bowel wall so there can be absorption into the capillaries? How would you do that? This is the way, guys. This is how you do it. We've had hundreds of years of looking at bowels and stuff like this. This is the way. There's no other way. Unless intravenously or something like that. Even if you inserted rectally, what do you got to deal with? Absorption issues. And you're way down at the end where very little is absorbed. Most goes into the kidneys. If that person is very thin, malabsorbing, how will the nutrients? Now, you can't worry about that. It's a good question, though, but you can't worry about that. You have to, I hate to tell you, it's just like taking a shovel load of dirt. You're digging a hole, right? Well, I'm putting in fencing. I do a lot of wood fencing, and I use 6x6s, and so I build, So, and I, of course, raised farming, I put in miles of fencing. And you start with the first scoop, second scoop, third scoop. That's all you can do, guys. The beauty, we have herbs to accelerate our help. That's the beauty. But she's right. But you can't just pour in foods because nobody's going home. Everything's blocked. So you have to use herbs that have a twist. They have actions to them that can open doors and stuff. That's the beauty of God and of nature. I can't imagine every health modality on this planet being in love with nature. You can still have some non-life-threatening pharmaceuticals and still be in love with nature. But we're way out of control and balance. Way out. There's no excuse for fatal event pharmaceuticals to be used, ever. Or pharmaceuticals that cause extreme damage to tissue. There is no excuse on this planet. I had a friend who is losing weight and very fragile and exhausting, and I would like to help there. All right, Diana. You get them on an herbal program. You hit the adrenals. I'd go the adrenal 400s, get the basic kit. The adrenal 400s, I'd be doing 1-3 times a day. I'd do the basic kit, get the worms out, get the liver open, get the lymph moving, get the kidneys open. You're opening doors. Then I'd go into either the 14-week protocol, and boom, you're on that protocol. Then I would start shifting my diet. You're supporting your adrenals, you're supporting that person's everything you can. You're starting to open up the kidneys, you're starting to open up all the doors. You move them into the raw foods, which are electrical and alive. Of course, these herbs are not cooked either, so all the nutrition is all in the herbs too. Don't forget, these herbs are highly nutritious. They're not mutated or hybrided. They came as they came. They're original strains from God, so they have all the power. Cool stuff. I got to go here in a few minutes. I think I have a 4 o'clock. Hey, sweetheart?
Yes.
Do I have a 4?
2.
A phone, Skype?
Skype.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. So I have to close here in a few minutes so she can set up. This is cute. Aloha. Is it possible to detox sociopathy and emotional detachment? Interesting. You know, most of this all is linked to the adrenals. So most of us will or have had emotional detox experiences. And I think that as you increase energy into your body, you also increase consciousness. As you increase consciousness, you decrease inferiority complexes, separateness, depersonalization. You actually see the opposite taking place. You become more secure in self, stronger emotionally, because you're not looking to others to support your consciousness, to fill in the gaps that might be void. You must walk your own walk in your own shoes. You are anyway. The illusion is that you play the roles and you pick on the people and you pull them in your lives and all the journeys and all that goes on and on and on. But if you want to overpower and become strong emotionally, mentally, to where you're not socially driven, the socialites and things like this, you must become strong in the self. And you'll find, like me, you'll become more reclusive. And fortunate or unfortunate, I'm a real recluse. I like aloneness. And that's why it's hard for me to travel and do all these things sometimes, because if I don't have peace and quiet, I go crazy. And it's hard to find in a world of noise pollution, peace and quiet. It's just hard to find it. It's sad that we live in a world of noise pollution at this level. The average person has no idea that how loud this world has become. And if you just sit and listen for a while, it's shocking. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for all your help. We're back on YouTube. That's great. We're going to fix it, though. We're not going to have this problem anymore. We're going to go to our own site. We got plenty of websites we have, and we're going to create one just for the videos, to where you can go to YouTube, but we'll have just a few videos there, basically non-threatening to anybody. And then you can boom and go right over to all our active videos. I think that's the best answer to this. If you guys have some other idea, let me know, because Chris and I were working on this. We have to tie into this. I don't know. We have to have a bigger server or something.
You're welcome.
We don't have a big enough server for all of this, so, and somehow it's supposed to be really expensive, so I don't know. Everything costs so much. But if we can get a bigger server or something, and we're definitely want to set up these sites to where no one can take it down. You see why I'm doing the club too? Same type of reason. You know, they're going to try every way they can to stop us. This is the nature of the negative forces. And there's plenty of people being a channel for them. Plenty. And it's like they don't get it. They take it personally. And don't take any of this personally. The government thing, none of this personally. I'm a strong military thinker. So for you military guys, I'll tell you this though. It's on a side note. In the military, you take allegiance to the commander-in-chief. So I have a good friend that's an ex-brother-in-law. And we were kind of rowdy one night, and he was talking. His son's way up there in the military, too. They were talking about orders from the commander-in-chief, or their commander, and those that disagreed with the orders from Vietnam, and because they were getting killed going one way, and they wanted to go another, and they decided to do that, so they were court-martialed. They ought to court-martial the colonels, or the generals for that. You don't treat humans like this. I don't care if it is the military. And so I said, well, if your son's commander ordered him to kill you, would you be okay with that? And he said, sure. So you have to understand that I'm going to always be on the side of God, of freedom, of life, of vitality. And I'm always going to fight those that would take that away. No matter who it is. These are just people. These are just humans. These are souls in humans' bodies. And if you take allegiance to something like that beyond rationale, but if you look at it, that's what happens. That's how dictators stay in. One guy, one dictator, someone could have pulled him out, any of them, take him out any time. No. They got allegiance to him. And they'll kill their own kind. That's where things are a little messed up. Love you guys. And you have fun tonight. And you get your health back. Because you can get your health back. And get yourself back to yourself. Give yourself a big hug and go, you know, I'm not so bad after all. I'm a good kind. Because each one of you I see is beautiful, beautiful souls. If you're struggling, we'll do everything in our power to help you overcome that. But I also recommend help others who are struggling too, because we are a bad, toxic world right now, and we can fix these things. And we don't have to fight each other to do it. You know, we use what works. That's the beauty of age and longevity, is some of us have been around a while, we know what works. And then with you young brainos, we're really going to do something, because I love what you're sending me. Some of you guys are sending me some really good stuff. And it just helps us to even grow more. So I've always said this, as a team, we're one. And I don't sit there as, we are one. We are all trying to get our health together. We're not judging each other. Why judge? You know, those that live in glass houses, I don't judge anybody. You don't need to. You see what is, but you realize we're just souls in a very unconscious level of creation. And if we get too unconscious, then we don't realize what we're doing. So you have to have compassion because of that. So, till the next time, I'll try to get these videos out at a faster rate now. We'll see. But I love you guys. Have a great night, and may the blessings be.